Hey guys, how are you all doing? Hello and welcome. A little bit of a different setup than what I usually have in my videos. This is some of my plant collection. I'm currently in the corner of my bedroom, and I wanted to update you guys on my Phyllanthus mirabilis. So this guy over here is a caudiciform plant, which means that it has a very large base. It's in the Phyllantheaceae family, native to Southeast Asia, in particular Thailand, Laos, Myanmar, and parts of Vietnam, and Cambodia too, I believe. And I made a video on this almost a year ago actually. It was about 13 or so months ago, and I wanted to update you guys because I've learned a lot about this plant since then. It took a long time to break dormancy, and I just kind of wanted to walk through it with you. And I've noticed this plant is gaining a little bit of popularity, especially on Etsy. So I bought this guy off of a guy named Baudin. Really a sweet guy, by the way. The store was called Caudex Cool, and I got this for about $30 Canadian, so it was a really good deal. And free shipping too. This is not sponsored by any means, by the way. I was just really happy with my purchase. So first thing you'll notice when you get one of these is they generally come bare root, and they generally come dormant, so you'll just see this brown part. And it starts off a brighter kind of almost golden color, and it matures to this more woody color. And it really is a waiting game. My number one piece of advice with this plant is if it doesn't produce the foliage for months on end, seriously give it time. Mine's dormant for 4 months or so in between seasons. Their active season here in the northern hemisphere indoors as a houseplant is typically about December is when they'll start emerging from dormancy. But that's different for everyone. They do like the cooler temperatures, I've noticed. This guy likes to be extremely dry. I water it when the pot's very light, which is honestly like once a month. I don't really fertilize it. Um, I gave it a little bit of a liquid feed fertilizer, 20-20-20 type fertilizer, I think once, and that was only a couple of drops. So it's not a heavy feeder at all. You'll start to notice a little yellow nub right at the very top there, and in a couple of weeks it grows really quickly. You start getting these beautiful leaves, and they're just so oval shaped and beautiful. Another really cool thing about this plant is the leaves close up at night, much like a prayer plant. So um, they overlap each other. It's really quite beautiful. I'll try to make another video at night with this plant. A couple of things I want to say is it's definitely a little bit smaller than I thought it would be when I first purchased it. This whole entire branch is a little bit bigger than my hand, but the length of the branches themselves is very dependent on light. This plant here requires just the brightest light in your house. It does not like shade at all. From what I've seen, I moved it about a foot away from the window, and it started just kind of looking a little bit sad, a little paler. Another thing I will say is the plants produce kind of reddish, almost brownish, translucent foliage when it first comes out, and then as they mature, they become this beautiful lime green color. Just a super picturesque plant. I highly recommend having really good drainage. These guys do not like wet feet. I have this guy in almost completely perlite with a little bit of coco coir because they do not like to sit in wet feet. It's the easiest way to kill this plant. Mine's just going back into dormancy right now. You can tell because it starts to defoliate and it loses some of the new emerging leaves right at the end, and you kind of reach the terminal length of each branch, and then they start going a little bit brown. That's not because of humidity loss or anything, it's just simply going dormant. It's stored up as much energy as it requires, and these guys actually stay active for a lot longer than I thought. This guy here broke its dormancy a little bit earlier in September, and so now we're going on almost 5 months of leaves, which is just so beautiful. Sorry if you guys hear sounds in the background, by the way. My neighbor's starting to do a little bit of home renovations. They just moved in. Super nice family, by the way. And so you might hear power tools and rumbling and stuff in the back. But yeah, so this here's a beautiful plant. I highly recommend keeping it on the dry side. It does not like It likes generally cooler temps in the night, but definitely not cold drafts. Would not keep it next to an open window at night. Just something to be mindful of. You can by all means grow these guys outside in the summer, but just avoid really, really intense direct light for prolonged periods of time because you do risk burning the leaves, even though this is a very light-loving plant. Mature height's about 3 times this indoors. I mean, I think that's a pretty liberal estimate. They're very slow growing, so get the biggest caudex you can, which is this big water storage gland, because that is very slow to grow. Just my one warning to you guys, it's really slow. So get a big juicy one right off the bat if that's the aesthetic that you're looking for. Even the undersides of the leaves are just so beautiful, you guys. Yeah, so that's my update on my little Phyllanthus mirabilis. I hope you guys are all having a beautiful day. I'll try to make videos on these plants soon. I don't know if you guys can tell, I got a little bit of a prayer plant. I want to say passion at the time. Not obsession, passion. But yeah, so stay blessed, and I'll have more videos coming up soon. Okay, see you guys later.